Listen to me. If you have this penny, you're secretly a millionaire and don't know it. Stop everything and check your pocket right now. That small penny you're about to ignore could be a silent fortune hiding in plain sight. Most people think pennies are worthless. They drop them, lose them, spend them without thinking. But what if I told you that some of these Lincoln wheat pennies are secretly worth life-changing money, and people are accidentally losing them every single day? Today, on Coins Most Valuable, we uncovered 3 of the most valuable and super rare Lincoln wheat pennies in the world. Coins that look old, dirty, even damaged, but carry hidden wealth that collectors are quietly fighting for in today's auction market. These are not normal coins. These are hidden treasure coins, and one of them is going to turn into a new power. The first coin might already be sitting in your collection right now, but listen carefully. Each coin in this video gets rarer, more shocking, and more valuable. And the last one will completely change how you look at pennies forever. This is not fiction. This is real. These coins are hidden treasures, and what you're about to see will shock you. Now listen to me very carefully, because one of the most overlooked coins in American history may already be sitting quietly in an old jar, a forgotten drawer, or even mixed into a handful of pennies that nobody in your family has checked for years. Most people see an old penny and assume it has almost no value. They hear the year, glance at the color, and move on without another thought. But the moment you see the date 1943 and a tiny D mint mark below the year, everything changes, because that small coin instantly becomes part of one of the most dramatic wartime stories ever created inside the United States Mint. What makes this even more shocking is that millions of people have handled these coins without ever understanding why collectors stop immediately when they see one. The truth is simple. The 1943 wheat penny with D mint mark is not just an old coin. It is a wartime survivor, a metal experiment, and in certain rare forms, a hidden treasure that can completely transform the value of a single cent. The year 1943 was unlike any normal year in American coin production because the United States was deeply involved in World War II, and copper was urgently needed for military equipment, wiring, ammunition, and battlefield supply production. Because of that pressure, the Mint changed the composition of the Lincoln wheat penny and began striking cents using zinc-coated steel instead of the usual bronze alloy. This meant that the familiar brown penny suddenly became silver in appearance, something Americans had never seen before in everyday circulation. The Denver Mint produced enormous numbers of these steel cents, all marked with the small D mint mark under the date, and millions entered commerce immediately. At first glance, many people think the 1943 D wheat penny looks unusual simply because it is silver instead of brown. That silver tone often surprises younger collectors because they expect all pennies to carry a copper color. But for advanced collectors, the first thing they check is not just color. They check shine, wear edge texture, and whether the coin still carries original zinc coating or has developed dark gray toning over time. These details matter because condition changes value dramatically. A coin that survived decades without heavy damage always draws stronger attention than one that has been scratched, corroded, or cleaned. The front of the coin still carries the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing right, with the words liberty to the left, and in God we trust above. Under the date appears the D mint mark, which tells collectors that this coin came from Denver. On the reverse, the classic wheat ears remain visible, framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. To an untrained eye, this looks like a normal old penny. But collectors know the wartime steel composition instantly separates it from most Lincoln cents ever made. One reason this coin keeps attracting attention is because people continue confusing ordinary steel examples with far rarer bronze errors. That confusion creates excitement every year because many old collections contain untested 1943 pennies. A normal steel 1943D penny sticks to a magnet immediately. That magnetic reaction confirms steel composition and helps identify regular wartime production. If a 1943D coin does not stick, collectors immediately become alert because that could signal one of the rarest mint errors in American coin history. Even regular steel examples remain highly collectible because they represent a dramatic one-year wartime change. Collectors building complete wheat penny sets always need a strong 1943D example, and demand remains constant because condition differences create huge value gaps. Coins with original luster, minimal spots, and strong strike details command much more attention than worn examples found in circulation. Even tiny differences in eye appeal can move values significantly in collector markets. The Denver Mint itself played a major role in wartime cent production because its output had to meet national circulation demand under extreme manufacturing pressure. Machines were running constantly, planchets were changing, and the mint had to adapt quickly to metal shortages. That pressure explains why some coins from this era show interesting strike differences, slight weakness in lettering, or subtle die characteristics that specialists study carefully today. Another reason the 1943D wheat penny matters is because steel cents did not age like bronze pennies. Steel reacts differently to moisture, and many surviving coins develop corrosion, dark spots, or rough surfaces over time. This means truly clean examples are much harder to find than many beginners expect. A coin that looks bright and original after decades instantly becomes more desirable because most steel cents suffered environmental damage. Many families unknowingly stored these pennies in jars, envelopes, and old coffee tins for generations. During the 1950s and 1960s, steel cents were often removed from circulation simply because people found them unusual. That habit preserved many pieces, but not all of them remained in excellent shape. Some were polished, cleaned, or rubbed aggressively, which lowers collector value because original surfaces matter strongly in modern auction markets. Serious collectors often examine the date closely because counterfeit alterations exist. Some altered coins attempt to imitate more valuable versions by changing dates or mint marks. That is why spacing, font shape, and mint mark placement become important. On authentic 1943D coins, the mint mark has a consistent placement under the date that specialists recognize instantly. What makes this coin even more powerful in collecting culture is the constant connection to hidden discovery stories. Every year, collectors still report finding old steel pennies inside inherited boxes, estate collections, and unsorted bank coin rolls. That possibility keeps excitement alive because even common-looking examples can still carry premium value if condition is exceptional. The sound of a steel penny is also different when dropped lightly compared with bronze cents. Experienced collectors often notice that steel cents produce a slightly sharper tone. Combined with magnet testing, this creates another quick way to separate wartime cents from ordinary copper examples. Over time, some 1943D steel cents developed beautiful natural toning, including blue-gray shades, soft silver surfaces, and even subtle rainbow effects near lettering. Those naturally toned examples often appeal strongly to collectors because they show untouched age rather than artificial cleaning. The wheat reverse design itself remains one of the most loved American coin designs ever produced. Collectors often say wartime steel cents create an especially dramatic visual contrast because the silver color makes the wheat ears appear sharper than on brown bronze examples. That visual difference helps explain why even beginners quickly become fascinated by this date. As collectors move deeper into Lincoln cent history, they learn that 1943 stands at the center of wartime collecting. It represents emergency production, metal substitution, and one of the few times American cents completely changed appearance for practical national reasons. That story gives the coin emotional power beyond simple metal value. Many people ask whether all 1943D pennies are valuable, and the honest answer is that every authentic example deserves attention, but condition determines how far value rises. A heavily worn steel cent may remain affordable, while an uncirculated piece with sharp detail can move into serious collector territory. Another hidden factor is strike quality. Some 1943D cents show exceptionally bold lettering and clean wheat lines, while others reveal softer detail because of wartime production speed. Sharp strikes often attract stronger bidding because visual detail always increases desirability. Collectors also watch for original zinc brightness. When steel scents still retain pale silver surfaces without dark corrosion, they instantly look stronger in auction photographs. Presentation matters because buyers react emotionally to coins that appear untouched by decades of damage. And then comes the level that changes everything. In elite condition, the 1943D wheat penny becomes far more than a wartime coin. It becomes an auction headline. One exceptional example reached a highest recorded auction result of $275,000, proving that a 1-cent coin created during wartime can enter a value category most people would never imagine possible from a small pocket coin. That kind of price is exactly why collectors never ignore a strong 1943D penny when they see one, because extraordinary preservation combined with rarity at the highest level creates dramatic market power. So before you dismiss any old steel-looking penny, slow down and inspect the date carefully. If you find 1943 with a D mint mark, you are holding a coin directly connected to wartime America, industrial emergency, and one of the most recognized collectible pennies in the country. And if that coin shows unusual color, exceptional shine, or anything different from ordinary steel appearance, never spend it without proper examination, because hidden value often appears where people least expect it. Coin number 2. What if I told you that one small brown penny from the mid-1940s could still be hiding inside an old family collection, a forgotten coin envelope, or a jar of ordinary change, while almost nobody around you understands that it may carry a history far bigger than its size? Most people see an old wheat penny and assume it is just another 1-cent coin from the past, but the moment you find the year 1945 and a tiny D mint mark below the date, you are looking at a coin tied directly to one of the most important moments in American wartime production. This is the kind of coin people spend without thinking, overlook in pocket change, or leave untouched in drawers for decades. Yet collectors continue searching for strong examples because the right 1945 D wheat penny can attract serious attention in today's market. That is why this coin is valuable, and that is why every detail matters the moment it appears in your hand, magnifying glass tilted left. The year 1945 was historically powerful because the world was approaching the final stage of World War II, and coin production inside the United States mint still reflected the pressure of wartime priorities. Just 2 years earlier, steel cents had replaced bronze temporarily, but by 1945, the familiar bronze composition had fully returned. That means the 1945 D wheat penny came from a period when mint facilities were stabilizing after emergency wartime metal adjustments, yet demand for circulating coinage remained extremely high across the country. At the Denver Mint, millions of wheat pennies were struck that year, each carrying the D mint mark below the date. While large production numbers suggest common availability, collectors know that true value is never determined by quantity alone. Preservation, strike quality, original color, and rare surface characteristics can transform an ordinary example into something far more desirable. The obverse shows the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, facing right, with "In God We Trust" above and "Liberty" to the left. The reverse still carries the classic wheat ears design, framing 1 cent and United States of America. This design had already become one of the most recognizable coin images in American daily life, yet coins from 1945 often survived in surprisingly different conditions because post-war circulation remained intense. One reason collectors focus heavily on the 1945 D wheat penny is because many examples stayed in circulation for years before being removed by hobbyists. During the 1950s and 1960s, countless wheat pennies were still moving through stores, banks, and household change jars, meaning heavily worn pieces became common. But sharply preserved examples escaped that fate, and those survivors now create the strongest demand. Color becomes one of the first major value indicators. A 1945 D penny may appear deep brown, soft chocolate, reddish brown, or full original red, depending on preservation. Collectors strongly prefer coins that retain bright original mint red because copper brilliance fades quickly over time. Once original color survives decades untouched, value rises dramatically. Strike quality also matters more than beginners expect. Some 1945 D cents show bold lettering, clean hair detail above Lincoln's ear, and sharp wheat lines on the reverse. Others appear softer because dyes wore down during heavy production. Strong strike examples attract immediate collector attention because visual sharpness adds market strength. The D mint mark itself must also be checked carefully. Its placement, shape, and authenticity matter because altered coins exist in the market. A true Denver mint mark has specific placement below the date that specialists recognize instantly. Serious collectors never judge value before confirming authenticity. Another reason this coin remains important is because 1945 marked the end of a global wartime chapter, giving every coin from that year emotional historical weight. A cent struck during that period passed through American hands while global events were reshaping history. That historical link often increases collector fascination because the coin becomes more than metal, it becomes a preserved moment of national memory. Many collectors also search for die varieties and subtle errors within 1945 D production. Small die cracks, repunched mint marks, and strike irregularities can make specific examples far more desirable than ordinary circulation pieces. Even tiny anomalies can separate one coin from thousands of others. Storage history changes everything. A coin hidden in paper envelopes often survives better than one stored loose in metal containers. Moisture, fingerprints, and air exposure slowly affect copper surfaces, which is why untouched examples remain difficult to find. Another hidden factor is luster. Under strong light, an original uncirculated 1945 D wheat penny can still show cartwheel brilliance moving across the surface. That spinning light effect tells collectors the coin has not been heavily cleaned or worn, which immediately strengthens value. The wheat reverse deserves equal attention because collectors study the grain lines inside each wheat ear. If those lines remain sharp and complete, it usually indicates stronger preservation. Reverse quality often influences grading decisions more than beginners realize. Because millions were minted, many people assume the 1945 D penny can never be special. That assumption is exactly why important examples continue getting overlooked. The truth is simple. Common date does not mean common quality. Exceptional quality always separates valuable coins from ordinary ones. Collectors building complete wheat penny sets always need a strong Denver example from 1945 because the D mint mark gives balance to full mint mark collections. Demand remains steady because set builders constantly compete for cleaner examples. The coin also teaches beginners an important lesson. Rarity sometimes begins with condition rather than mintage. A coin produced in huge numbers can still become difficult when only a small percentage survives beautifully after decades of circulation. When examined under magnification, original surfaces often reveal tiny mint texture lines that disappear after cleaning. This is why cleaned coins lose appeal quickly, while untouched surfaces create much stronger buyer confidence. Copper reacts strongly to environment, so many surviving 1945 D pennies darkened, unevenly spotted, or develop dull surfaces. Coins free from these distractions naturally command more attention because visual beauty matters in every auction. Some collectors specifically hunt red examples because original red copper from the 1940s becomes harder to find every decade. Once a coin preserves that fresh mint appearance, it enters a much stronger value category than ordinary brown pieces. The historical timing also adds emotional power. This penny was struck during the same year global wartime victory headlines reached homes across America. That connection turns an ordinary cent into a direct survivor of one of the most remembered periods of the 20th century. And when preservation reaches the highest level, the market responds dramatically. One exceptional 1945 D wheat penny reached a highest recorded auction result of $158,000, proving that even a 1-cent coin from ordinary wartime circulation can become an extraordinary prize when quality, originality, and rarity align perfectly. So before you dismiss any old wheat penny dated 1945, slow down and inspect the mint mark, color, strike, and surface carefully. A small d under that date means the coin came from Denver during one of America's most historic years, and if the condition is unusually strong, what looks like a simple penny may actually be one of the most valuable hidden coin discoveries waiting inside an old collection today. Coin number 3. Imagine reaching into an old jar of pennies, pulling out a single worn copper coin, and discovering that the tiny date stamped near the bottom could connect you to one of the most searched Lincoln wheat pennies in American coin collecting. That is exactly why the 1953 wheat penny with D mint mark continues to attract so much attention from collectors, dealers, and everyday people searching through old coin collections. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary wheat penny, a coin many people have ignored for decades. But hidden inside certain examples of this Denver minted penny are details that can turn an everyday coin into something collectors consider highly desirable. If you have a 1953 D-wheat penny, do not dismiss it too quickly because the condition, strike quality, color, and possible mint errors can completely change its market value, and many collectors continue hunting for strong examples every year. The 1953 D-wheat penny was struck at the Denver Mint during a period when Lincoln wheat cents were still heavily circulating across the United States. Millions of these pennies were produced, but what makes collectors pause is that not every surviving coin remains in collectible condition today. Most examples were heavily used in commerce, spent in stores, carried in pockets, and exposed to decades of wear. Because of that, sharp and original examples have become much harder to locate than many people expect. When a collector finds a 1953 D-wheat penny with strong detail in Lincoln's portrait, clean wheat ears on the reverse, and original colors still visible across the surfaces, interest immediately rises. The Denver Mint produced this coin with the familiar Lincoln portrait on the front, designed by Victor David Brenner, while the reverse carries the classic wheat ears design that defined American pennies for decades. The small D mint mark under the date is the key identifier showing that this coin came from Denver rather than Philadelphia. For many beginners, that tiny letter may seem insignificant, but in coin collecting, mint marks often separate common examples from more desirable collecting targets because strike quality and preservation can vary by mint. One reason the 1953 D-wheat penny remains important is that Denver often produced coins with strong strikes, but even then, not every coin left the mint perfectly struck. Some pieces show weakness in Lincoln's hair details, especially near the ear and jawline, while others reveal softer wheat lines on the reverse. Collectors often compare multiple examples side by side because sharper details can command stronger attention in the market. A fully detailed coin naturally attracts higher demand than a weakly struck one, even if both share the same date and mint mark. Color also plays a huge role in determining value. Collectors classify wheat pennies into brown, and red categories. A brown coin usually shows years of oxidation and darker surfaces, which is common for circulated examples. Red-brown pieces still retain partial original mint luster, while fully red examples are especially sought after because they preserve the fresh copper appearance seen when the coin originally left the mint. A 1953 D-wheat penny in full red condition instantly becomes more attractive because original red copper from the early 1950s is difficult to preserve for decades without environmental damage. Another reason this coin stays popular is because many collectors still search rolls, estate collections, and inherited jars, hoping to find one in unusually strong condition. Even though millions were made, top-quality survivors remain scarce because time naturally removes pristine surfaces. Small contact marks, scratches, carbon spots, discoloration, and cleaning damage reduce collector appeal. A coin that avoided these problems for decades becomes far more desirable than a damaged example. Many people do not realize that cleaning can seriously reduce value. A 1953 D-wheat penny may look brighter after polishing, but experienced collectors immediately recognize unnatural shine, hairline scratches, and altered surfaces. A naturally aged coin with original texture is usually preferred over one that has been aggressively cleaned. This is why two coins with the same date and mint mark can have dramatically different values depending on originality. The edge of the coin should also be examined carefully. Any unusual thickness, striking irregularity, or abnormal metal flow may suggest an error worth closer attention. While most 1953 D-Wheat pennies are standard issues, collectors always inspect for off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, repunched mint marks, and subtle doubling. Even a minor mint error can make an ordinary coin much more interesting in today's collector market. The 1953 D-Wheat penny also benefits from being part of the highly collected Lincoln Cent series, one of the most widely followed coin programs in American history. Because so many collectors build complete wheat penny sets, every date and mint mark receives constant attention. Even if a coin is not extremely rare by mintage, demand stays strong because collectors need quality examples to complete albums. When checking your coin, pay close attention to Lincoln's cheek, jawline, coat, and the wheat lines on the reverse. If those areas remain sharp, your coin may deserve closer evaluation. Many circulated examples lose detail first in those locations, so stronger preservation immediately separates a coin from ordinary worn pieces. Another factor that raises value is luster. Original mint luster moves across the surface under light in a rotating pattern. If a 1953 D-Wheat penny still flashes with that natural cartwheel effect, collectors know it has survived with less disturbance. Coins with preserved luster often outperform dull pieces in auction settings because visual appeal matters greatly. Collectors also inspect the mint mark carefully. On some wheat pennies, mint marks can reveal interesting punching characteristics. The D mint mark should appear clear and properly positioned below the date. Any unusual shape, doubling, or misalignment often leads to further study because mint mark anomalies attract attention. Storage history matters too. Coins kept in dry albums, rolls, or protected holders usually survive far better than coins left loose in humid environments. Copper reacts easily to air and moisture, so even a valuable 1953 D-Wheat penny can lose appeal if exposed poorly over time. This is why original surfaces remain such an important part of market value. For many collectors, the excitement comes from uncertainty. A coin that appears ordinary at first can suddenly reveal premium quality under magnification. Tiny details that casual owners ignore often decide whether a coin remains common or becomes highly collectible. Because wheat pennies remain one of the most searched old U.S. coins, demand continues from both beginners and advanced collectors. People search old family collections every year, hoping to uncover dates like this one in better-than-expected condition. Even when a coin does not show an obvious error, condition alone can create surprising value. The market for old copper coins also changes depending on collector demand, registry competition, and auction visibility. A coin with exceptional eye appeal can attract multiple bidders because advanced collectors compete for superior examples, especially when full original color remains intact. If you own several 1953 D-Wheat pennies, compare them carefully rather than assuming they all carry equal value. One coin with stronger strike, fewer marks, and better color can stand far above the others. Even slight differences matter in this part of coin collecting. What surprises many people most is how dramatically value rises at the highest levels of preservation. While circulated examples are common, top-grade pieces become a completely different story. In elite condition, with outstanding red surfaces and nearly flawless preservation, the 1953 D-Wheat penny has reached an astonishing highest recorded auction price of $251,000, proving that even a coin many people overlook can become one of the most talked-about wheat pennies when everything aligns perfectly. That is why every old wheat penny deserves a second look before being spent or ignored. The next time you see a 1953 D-Wheat penny, examine the mint mark, check the color, study the surfaces, and never assume it is ordinary. Valuable coins often hide where nobody expects them, and one small copper cent could be far more important than it first appears. So, before you spend a single old penny again, look carefully at every wheat coin that passes through your hands. Because what seems ordinary today could quietly become the coin people wish they had never ignored. Some of these Lincoln wheat pennies have already shocked collectors with prices reaching thousands of dollars, simply because one hidden detail changed everything. And the truth is, rare coins are still being discovered when people least expect it inside jars, drawers, old collections, and everyday pocket change. That means the next valuable coin may already be closer than you think. And if you thought these wheat pennies were surprising, wait until you see what certain Washington quarter coins are doing right now, because some of them are creating even bigger collector excitement and shocking values. Watch my Washington quarters video next, because the coin hiding there could be even more unbelievable than the pennies you saw today. And if you enjoy discovering hidden treasure coins, subscribe to my channel, like this video, share it with someone who checks old coins, and comment below which wheat penny surprised you the most, because your next coin discovery could change everything.